Welcome to Fabulous Feast. I'm Dr. Donald DeFabio. Fabulous Feast is all about empowerment. It's about empowering you to make better food choices. We know that certain foods drive inflammation, and we know certain foods suppress inflammation. We want to eat an anti-inflammatory diet so it'll reduce your genetic expression of disease. An anti-inflammatory diet will help you regain your health if you've lost it, and it'll help you maintain your health if you have it. It really is all about what Hippocrates said. Let medicine be thy food, and let food be thy medicine. That's Fabulous Feast. Today we're going to have a couple of really nice dishes. A new dish, it is a chicken with a garlic Verde sauce. And after that, I'm going to pair it with a classic fresh tomato salad, which I grew up on. I'm from New Jersey. I still live here. Jersey tomatoes, fresh tomato salad, knocks it out of the park. We're going to pair those two together. And for my people that want to embrace sweetness, which isn't necessarily always parallel with an anti-inflammatory diet, by the way, we're going to have a dessert. We're going to have a lemon curd with some fruit, some fresh peaches, again, because they're in season. So let's get started. First of all, we're going to heat up our pan, get a little heat going. Maybe. There we go. While that's warming up a little bit, I have 2 chicken breasts. Now, the chicken breasts happen to be deboned. Why? It's going to cook really fast, all right? This is about 1.5 pounds of chicken, which means it's going to be dinner for 4, easy, 4 servings. If it's just my wife and I at home, so what does that mean for us? That means meal prep. We'll get 1 meal out of it tonight, and then we'll have another meal. So we're all so busy today. Everybody's so busy. That's the other thing I really want people to grasp. You can eat healthy, anti-inflammatory foods and have a busy schedule. Yes, it would be great to be able to spend 3-4 hours, if you like to cook, in the kitchen every day. But you can also get the job done, eat well, by doing meal prep, thinking ahead, and keeping things focused on healthy choices. It doesn't always have to be long prep, but it does need to be fresh. It does need to be high quality. So we're cutting the breasts in half and then into little cubes, trying to keep them about the same size. We'll do that with both breasts. Then we'll add a little salt and pepper. By the time this gets done, my pan will be nice and warm. We'll put a little oil in the pan, and then we'll sear these guys up. Why do we need a little oil? Because I'm using chicken breasts. If you happen to be a chicken thigh guy or a chicken thigh person, you're not going to need the oil. The chicken thighs will throw off plenty of fat. So depending on the cut of meat you have, that determines how much oil you do or don't need in the pan, because their breasts are quite lean. Thighs are probably 40% more fat than breasts. Legs, wings, about 50% more fat than breasts. So that's the deal. So if you want to go to a low-fat diet, be careful with the wings. This hand's dirty, so what do I need to do? I'm going to grab a paper towel so I can put my pepper on here. And that's all this gets before it goes in the pan. A little salt and pepper, like that. Some extra virgin. This is a little hot, this flame. Yeah, it's throwing off a little too much heat. Bring it down. So a hot pan, because you want to sear your chicken. Oh, about 2 tablespoons of olive oil, not too much. Just enough so the chicken gets a nice sear on it. Salt and pepper. And then right in there. Woo, baby. Nice. Get the oil just a little bit on the bottom of the pan. Spread the chicken out. And you want to get a nice sear on it. So spread them out. Give them all a chance to be on that nice hot pan, and already they're starting to sear up a little bit. I'm going to put the dirty plate away, and we'll be right back. We'll finish cooking the chicken. So let me put this down. I'm going to rinse my hands because I had a little chicken on them. So, takes about 5 minutes total to 8 minutes total to get that done. So I'm just going to let it cook. All right. I want to get a nice little sear on them. In fact, that'll probably be done before my tomato salad's done. So we're going to go into my classic tomato salad. I grew up on this. This was just one of the treats in the summertime. Jersey tomatoes. Farm fresh is the way to go. But you got to look for your tomatoes. Make sure they're nice and ripe. That's where the sweetness comes in. You'll see a lot of the tomatoes out there. If you look around the stem part, it'll be kind of yellowish. It'll be lighter. That means they were picked green. And most of the vegetables are picked green unless it's farm fresh. If that is like that, leave them out. Leave them on the counter. Put them on the back porch in the sun if you really want the sweetness to come out. So give them a chance to ripen in the sun if you can, but you want that deep, deep red color. Yeah, this one's been sitting out for a few days, but that's fine. Your fruit doesn't have to look beautiful to taste beautiful, right? You don't want it rotten. You want it ripe, but you also want to make sure it's got nice even texture to it as well. When my dad used to go shopping for tomatoes, he used to give them names. Oh yeah, I like this one. Yeah, I'm going to call him Harry. I used to give them names. But, this can go over here. That's dirty. All right, so let's start with some tomatoes. Yeah, that's cooking nicely. You can see how the, was picked a little green. You can tell by looking at it, but it's ready to eat now. So I'm just going to take out that little stem piece. As I was saying, if you look at the chicken, it's almost ready to be flipped. You can tell it's pretty much cooked through on most of the areas. So you take your Jersey tomato. Can you use a nice beef steak? Of course you can. But I tell you, you can get your hands on a Jersey tomato in the summertime. To die for. This with a little fresh mozzarella, oil, fresh basil, knock your socks off. So I'm going to use, my wife and I'm going to do one more. Ooh, that's almost ready to turn. And you can just cut around the stem like that. All right. So simple, but boy, you could eat this with a meal or as a meal. Tomatoes are really high in lycopene, really high in antioxidants. Good source of potassium, by the way. And it's real simple salad. Tomato, sweet onion. I like Vidalia, all right? It's also available pretty much all the time right now. Used to be Vidalia onions just come from Georgia, and you can only get them a certain time of the year. But now you can pretty much get them anytime. We're ready for a flip. That's just what we want. This is almost done. I'm going to have to change my speed in preparing my salad because I got to prep the parsley that goes in here and the garlic that goes in here. And that's going to be ready in just a few seconds. And then this dish is done. That's how quick it is. But it's quicker to make the garlic chicken with a Verde sauce than it is to make tomato salad. So don't tell me you can't come home and make a quick, fresh, healthy, anti-inflammatory meal. Because we're doing it right now, real time. So I know you can do it also. So turn them over. Good. A little bit more to cook. Let's cut this onion first. I like cutting it in those little half moon shapes. I'm a big fan of onion. Can you substitute garlic in this recipe? Yes, you can. You can substitute garlic, all right? But I like the onion. Oh, about a half an onion looks pretty good. I'm gonna give it a little bit more if you so choose. And since I'm an onion guy, I'm gonna do that. My wife, she's a garlic gal. So she'll make this same thing and she'll swap out onions for garlic. Now, this isn't quite done yet, but this is almost done. Look at that. Now, you can see you're starting to get a little fluid. Oh, that's because the chicken has water in it when they process it. That's just the nature of the beast. So we want that to cook down a little bit. And the sauce, there is no sauce. The flavor that, besides the salt and pepper, it's going to be fresh parsley. It's got to be fresh parsley. Nice handful of fresh parsley. We can use the same cutting board because we're still working on vegetables. And garlic. And that's it. You don't, the little bit of oil you started with the beginning is plenty of oil, so you don't need more. Sometimes I'll add oregano if I want more of a punch, but this is a very subtle summer dish, and it pairs really, really well with the nice, bright flavors of the fresh tomato salad. I'm going to chop this up pretty good. Oh, by the way, how do you guys like my new chopping block? Yeah, nice. The executive producer, who shall rename my wife, picked it out for me, so it was a real nice call, so I appreciate that. So a little bit of, chicken's just about done, guys. Parsley. I want to get a little bit of sear on a couple of these that need to get flipped. Yeah. So, garlic, smash it, chop it relatively fine. Now, this is a decision you have to make. If you like garlic, if you like that garlic forward flavor, then you gotta do this next step and let the garlic cook a little bit more. If you want more of a subtle, if you want more of a subtle garlic flavor, you have to let the garlic cook a little bit more. If you like that garlic forward flavor, you leave it in here for a minute, 30 seconds, and you're done. But the whole thing only takes a couple of minutes. Chicken is done. Look at that. All the water that was inside the chicken is evaporated. We got a little bit of the oil that was in there from before. Parsley, garlic. Make sure you get all that garlic in there. Again, that's 2 good-sized cloves of garlic, 3 small-sized cloves would do it. And stir it around. We're going to give it about 30 seconds to a minute. You don't want the garlic to brown. You don't want it to cook. You don't want to lose all the brightness of the parsley. And then it's done. And what you could even do, like me, I'm working on still finishing my salad, and this has got a little bit of final marrying, all the flavors have to marry. I could just shut it off and let it sit on a warm pan for that last minute. And that heat in the pan is going to let all the flavors marry without burning the garlic. So you don't want that burnt garlic flavor. Not in this dish. I just don't recommend it. Even if you like that intense garlic flavor, I would not do that. So yeah, that's done. This is almost done. Let's clear off A little bit more. Now again, we're still using the same cutting board because we're still on vegetables, okay? Now, in the anti-inflammatory diet, vegetables are key. They're key. You need 5 to 7 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. 5 to 7. That's not a sprinkling of parsley on your chicken. Now, protein dense meal, nothing wrong with that. We need protein too. Most people don't get enough protein in their diet, by the way. Well, look at that, a runaway piece of onion. But you need to get your vegetation and you need to get your protein. So if you have a blood sugar issue, then you have to watch out for your sugars. You have to watch out for your total carbohydrate load. You have to watch out for your fruits. But if you don't have an issue with your blood sugar, go ahead and enjoy, I need 2 hands for this, you know, fruits as part of an anti-inflammatory diet. And why am I so focused on an anti-inflammatory diet? Number one, it helps people feel better. Most of the patients that come to the office aren't feeling well. They have a health complaint. Come back here. So we want them to feel better. But number two, it's going to help you live longer and live better. We like to use the term in the office, lifegevity, okay? It's about living life fully as well as long. Because if you don't have vitality with your years, yeah, right? What do you have? Okay? So lifegevity, and part of that is eating right. The other part is exercising. The other part is taking care of yourself emotionally as well as physically. Taking chiropractic adjustments is part of lifegevity. And I've seen it. I've seen it in my patients that have been with me for decades. I've seen it in patients that have been taking chiropractic care for decades with other doctors, and then they come to me. Those patients live a fuller life. They're more active as they age, and they age gracefully. So it's part of a lifestyle, and you can make those choices. And one of the biggest choices is to decide to eat foods that are nutrient dense and low in inflammation. So, wow, that looks really good, doesn't it? We're going to try it in a minute. Garlic, chicken, Verde, all right? And a little parsley for some garnish on that. Let's finish up with our salad. So we have in here our tomatoes, sweet onion, bell pepper. That's next. Let's swap that out. Let's grab a new knife. So again, this is all fresh this time of year. Maybe that's one of the reasons this tastes so good, this salad, because everything is fresh. I like cutting the peppers in juliennes. You can make them in little square cubes. That's acceptable as well. But you know, I mentioned the other day to one of my patients that tomato salad with peppers and onions and cucumbers, and they were like, "What? Really? I've never heard of that." This is the way we grew up. These are the foods that we eat. They eat different foods, and not that their foods were bad or good or whatever. It's just that they were different. So I want to share with you the choices that I had growing up that are really healthy. Not to say that we ate poorly, but we had a typical Italian-American diet growing up, grain-based diet, which is pro-inflammatory. Grains drive inflammation. Vegetables, lean meat, suppress inflammation. It is that simple. And when you have less inflammation, you have lifegevity. And that's what it's all about. And people that embrace what we call a chiropractic lifestyle. I make little quarters of these with the zucchini, with the cucumber. Again, look at the color on that. Isn't that beautiful? The green is like all the way through. It's fresh. Oh man. This is the time of year you just love being in New Jersey. Jersey corn, Jersey tomatoes, can't beat it. But if you're taking adjustments on a regular basis, you're also talking to your chiropractic doctor about nutrition. You're also talking to your chiropractic doctor about exercise. You're also thinking about what you can do as lifestyles to stay active, to keep doing the things you like, all right? Whether it's to work, to play, to be with your grandchildren, whatever, all right? My favorite herb, basil. My favorite. If I could be any one herb, I would choose basil. So some fresh basil. I keep a little herb garden in the back. This is what makes the tomato salad just all come together. The tomatoes are so sweet, but you get the fresh basil on top of that. Now, if you are growing basil, you got to make sure the little tops don't turn to seed, because as soon as it starts to flower and turn to seed, it's going to get bitter. So if you want that, if you've noticed, sometimes the basil's really sweet when you buy it fresh or at a farm stand pre-cut, and other times it's a little bitter. That's because if it's bitter, it had started to go to seed, and they have the little flowers, and it loses its freshness. So, bunch of basil in there, and simple. Some fresh salt. This needs salt. Get all the basil in there. The salt is what actually draws out the flavors from the vegetables. So, a little olive oil, a little salt. We're going to put this aside, stir it up, and then we're going to come back with a dessert to pair this with, some fresh peaches with a lemon curd. So just let this set, let the oils come out, let the fruit come out, and then we'll prep dessert. You know, this is what longevity is all about. Being able to open up a little container with your hands. And there it goes. Oh, I need to do hand exercises. And I use my hands all day long. I got to keep them strong. If you don't build your muscles, if you don't work out every day, if you don't strengthen your muscles, they will get weaker as you age. Don't let it happen. Stay active, exercise, talk to us, talk to your doctors about what exercises you need to do so you can keep opening up a jar. I digress. Let's go back to cooking. We need about a cup heavy cream. You need a couple of tablespoons of maple syrup. And with the maple syrup, I put in a half teaspoon of arrowroot. I mix the arrowroot with the maple syrup first because it dissolves better. It helps it become a little pasty. And this is what's going to help my lemon curd set, because that's what we're making, a lemon curd. So as I mix this up, I'm going to pour the cream right in a pan. That's right, heavy cream, organic, but more importantly, grass-fed milk. It's from grass-fed milk. Grass-fed milk is high in omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-3 fatty acids are beneficial to suppress inflammation. Fat isn't bad. Bad fats are bad. What are bad fats? Corn oil, soybean oil, canola oil, vegetable oil. Bad fats. Whoop, a little too high. You don't want to boil your cream. You just want to warm it up a little bit. I'm going to put my maple syrup in here with my arrowroot. This will help you just want to warm it up enough so that the maple syrup dissolves and the arrowroot dissolves, not to a boil, maybe 150 to even 200 degrees, but you don't want to boil it, you just want to heat it up. And then what's going to happen while that's warming up, I already zested my lemon, all right? So I have a couple of tablespoons of lemon zest, and zesting a lemon means just taking the yellow, don't take the white, all right? And I need a couple of tablespoons of, here's my knife, a couple of tablespoons of lemon juice, all right? So I still use an old school lemon extractor to get the lemon juice out. That's it, it's almost ready. Maple syrup. Is dissolved. I'm going to lower the heat because I don't want it to boil. This has to set. This you can't prep right away. So what happens is very simple. All right. I'm going to. Good. See the little bubbles around the outside? Okay. That tells us that it's kind of like cooking a pancake. When you see the little bubbles come up, then you know you're good. It's all warmed up. Take your lemon zest, put it in there. This is about 2-3 tablespoons. Reserve the pits. Good. Lemon juice. Stir that up. And then this has to set. Look, look, look. Look how thick it got. You just made a curd, okay? Put it in a pan, a bowl, put it in the fridge, give it at least 3 hours to set, all right? And after 3 hours, it comes set like that. And what do? You get some fresh fruit. I'm going to use peaches because they're in season. Slice them up, and then I'm going to put a couple of scoops of my lemon curd in there, and we'll garnish it with a little bit of fresh mint, and bingo. Anti-inflammatory, nutrient-rich. Ah, you got it, baby. Dessert. So, can't go wrong. Anti-inflammatory dessert, omega-3 fats, fresh fruit, poultry, lean meat, garlic, herbs, healthy, tomatoes, peppers, onions, anti-inflammatory. It's simple. Can't go wrong. This is Fabulous Feasts. This is what it's going to take to help you maintain, regain, and continue your health. I'm Dr. Donald DeFabio. I want to thank you for tuning in. We'll see you on the next show. In the meantime, enjoy. That's good stuff. This batch could use a little more sugar, but it's not about sweet. It's about embracing bitter. Ooh, that looks good. I didn't even put my dark chocolate on it.